We're back on Let's Just Talk and Born Before 64 with my favorite guy, my favorite expert dentist, Dr. James E. Butler. And, you know, before the break, we talked about, you said you'd like to do this in this segment, actually about Avadent.
Yeah, Avadent, how we got involved with digital dentistry for implantology. And we've actually been involved for 4 years with the Avadent company. And the interesting thing is when I first went into implants more full time, it was 2004, and I learned how to do a nifty new FDA procedure called mini dental implants, which has evolved into standard implantology only in a very simple way.
There's only 3 of you, right, out there that do what you do?
There's a lot more than that. But
today.
There's mostly, there was originally about 3 people, that's for sure.
Really?
But, in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
But now, it's become more mainstream, but what's not mainstream is how you put together the teeth, because people, it's not about the implant. The implant is the foundation of the house, but it's about building a house you like, which means the smile you want and the chewing power that you want and the longevity that people want and the ability to easily maintain the result. So when Avadent, I was teaching for mini implants for a company called MTech Corporation, who was the first to have a mini implant manufacturing. And Tim Thompson was the president of that company. And it was a very good company, and I taught for them for 3 years. I was one of their 5 original trainers for mini implants in this country.
Really?
Yeah, so from 7 to about 9 or 10. So, but Tim Thompson was interested in digital technology, and they'd bought a scanner, and they were starting to look at the way to scan models, and he got real interested in it. So he went and worked on a project called Invisalign, which I think everybody's heard about.
Everybody knows Invisalign.
Yeah, so him and Gene Peterson were working on Invisalign, and they took that technology and said, hey, not only could we use this to computer-assisted engineer the braces for people, we could also use this technology to start making, dentures for people. Okay.
Wow.
So they scanned all the available denture teeth that they were going to use, and they learned how to scan models and impressions, and they designed a way to get the records into the computer using a device called an ATI, which you put in the mouth, and it would show them where the lips were and where the eyeball level was, and everything. It was really fascinating. And so when they came out with that system in I think it was 2011, 11 or 12, I took a seminar, I think, in the January of 12 in Pittsburgh, and learned how to do it, and we've been doing it ever since. But it was only for dentures, okay? And so we could do our snap-in denture over mini implants, which is bread and butter stuff, and people who have worn dentures a long time, that's really good, because they don't mind the dentures as much. They just want them to not move around and not continue to atrophy their bone, because dentures that don't have implants under them, the bone melts away because it's an abnormal force on top of the gum. Yeah, it compresses the blood supply, and
those poor people,
the bone melts away. Absolutely. So many implants have been the most fantastic way for them to cost effectively support those dentures, okay? But the baby boomers don't want dentures, okay? When the generation, my grandmothers and grandfathers, they didn't mind dentures, but baby boomers don't want dentures, and sometimes we do lose our teeth,
That's right.
75% of Americans will have a run-in with gum disease in their life, and some of them will lose their teeth. Decay, the acidity of things, medications that dry the mouth, that cause people to have decay they can't control.
Right.
So we've had people losing their teeth, and not always their fault. I mean, there's some medical conditions. People are living longer, but they're taking medicines
that cause problems with losing your teeth and decaying your teeth.
Absolutely, because a dry mouth syndrome can cause uncontrolled decay around the necks of your old crowns and bridges.
Really?
Yeah, and you know, people who wear CPAP, you know, and have oxygen.
Right.
Diabetics don't have good microcirculation in our teeth. It turns out that the saliva has mucoproteins and antibodies and calcium in it. It's not just about water.
Really?
And that coats your teeth, and that provides the primary barrier against bacteria. Okay? So if we don't use a lot of topical fluoride in a toothpaste or in a rinse, it's very easy for dry mouth syndrome.
That's the reason why I'm using all that stuff that you gave me.
That's
correct?
Yeah, because we're keeping your natural teeth.
Yes.
But a lot of patients come to us already behind the curve, and they're losing their teeth. Okay, and they need a way to get into bridge work without spending $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Okay, and so for a fraction of that, you know, Tim Thompson agreed with us about making what's called a hybrid bridge. Okay, now a hybrid bridge it's a lot like a denture in that it's easy to fabricate, you know, to put the teeth in and make them look nice and get the bite right and have some gum appearance on them and to replace that damaged tissue. And they're lighter than zirconium or metal with porcelains. You know, heavy systems have to be on heavy implants, and heavy implants are hard to put in because they usually require bone grafting.
Ooh.
And bone grafting is not much fun, and it's very expensive.
True.
So this light system, it turns out that they were working on a way to, instead of using denture teeth, to actually mill custom teeth, just like we do custom porcelain veneers for people.
Really?
To teach the computer to actually make the teeth custom for each client and to integrate that into the base. So now we have what's called a fully milled hybrid bridge. Okay?
And it's light.
It's very light, yeah. But it's you know, you can still chew hard on it. Okay?
You can.
It's just you know, it's 1/3 or 1/4 the weight of a zirconium or porcelain fused to metal bridge work that's very common in our industry. Now, here's the trick though. It can last just as long as those systems in many people because if it's against its own substance, you know, the upper and lower done together in the same material, they're very compatible.
Yes.
Okay? And so many advantages, you know, the ease of placements. Well, it turns out that Tim Thompson was the president of Impact. Well, he popped up as the president of Avadent.
And on that note, we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back and tell the rest of the story. And we'll talk about cost, because that's really important.
It's a big deal.
And we'll be right back with Dr. James E. Butler. And your website, Doc?
IDISmile.com.
And we'll be right back on Kathryn Raaker's Let's Just Talk and the Born Before 64 show today. We'll be right back.